Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Hope you're having a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Hope you're having a beautiful. And I have a little bit of an echo here. Give me 1 second here. All right, just 1 second here. I have a little bit of an echo here. Okay. All right, let's rock and roll. So I wanted to say hello. Thank you for those that are here. And if you are catching up on the live, write hashtag live. If you're catching up on the replay, write hashtag replay. And I'm going to be doing these every single day from Monday to Friday, 12 o'clock Central, starting today. So thank you all for being here and showing up however you can show up. And I'm going to be dropping a registration link in the comments below as well. And allowing you to connect with me on my webinar so that I can see chats and this and that, but I will not be looking at the chats on Facebook in real time. So just wanted to give you all a heads up. And I wanted to kind of talk about why I am doing this, And, you know, when I think about my journey and the things that really shaped me the most, I felt like I had people come into my life. I had support come into my life when I didn't even know I needed support. And I know I've been able to be that for a lot of my clients too. And I've had a lot of clients tell me over time now, hey, Karishma, the timing that you came into my life is absolutely perfect. And it's just uncanny how life works. And that is my intention for today, to really show up 100% and to be here for you. And what I wanted to talk about today was what we do to ourselves. And I'll tell you a little bit about my path, my journey. And I don't know if any of this resonates with you. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. And, you know, essentially, and I share about it on my website, coachkarishma.com. So you can go to the about section and read a little bit more about me. And what I really want to do even more in the next few weeks, I'll start it next week, is really allow myself to be open to supporting you all in some sort of frequency. So I'll be sharing a program that I'm launching very, very shortly. And just if any of this resonates with you and you're like, I really think I need help with that. Sometimes we don't know what we need, but having someone on the other side to be that mirror, to be that voice, can be really all the thing that makes the biggest difference. And I'll share with you what has been pivotal for me and just a little bit about my journey. So, you know, I was in a corporate job, got super overwhelmed, super burnt out, and I had to quit. I had to quit in winter, February or so. I think it was right around the 4-year mark, 4 years ago, 2019. I quit my job. And it was really crazy because I was doing really well and I was making good money. I was supporting a lot of leaders. I was having the impact that I wanted. And the one thing about me is I've always been someone that wants to help people. And that's been some level of service in my entire life. It's been a huge part of my life, my upbringing, a lot of my religious upbringing too. And here I was in the service role, serving other clients, serving leaders, got overwhelmed, burnt out, threw in the towel, which was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I started to have physical health challenges that affected everything. And one thing led to the other, and it kind of forced me to quit, which was a blessing at the time. And then I came into my own business a year and change ago, and everything really took off during COVID. And it's been a beautiful journey to, help empower a lot of entrepreneurs and leaders since then to step into a path of financial freedom and time freedom. And right around the October mark, and so what happened for me, and I shared a little bit about this, my Facebook Live yesterday, if you saw the live, but today's day one of Miracles with Karishma is what I'm calling this lunch half hour, or whatever it is one of the most beautiful things was I burnt myself out. And I'm using this language very intentionally. I did it to me, where the very thing that I wanted was time freedom in my day job. And I wanted to spend time with my kids. I wanted to be a present mom. I wanted to be a happy mom. I wanted to have time for me to work out and do the things that were important to me, and also to serve. And I knew that on some level, being an entrepreneur would be the only way to have that. And what's crazy is within a few short months, me coming into my business takes off during COVID. Now I'm micromanaging my team members around the clock. So during the daytime, I'm having coaching calls, strategy sessions, I'm doing all the things. My business is flying. And at night, I'm micromanaging my virtual assistants, my team members, and really like working around the clock. And whereas I was working more and more before, I was working even more now. And I could justify it in the name of business and my passion and my purpose. But the truth was, I was sabotaging myself. Do you guys see that? Like, this is the crazy thing that we all do. My desire to have freedom led me into my own business. And now bringing the same habits that I learned over the course of my life, more upbringing, now I'm utilizing those same habits to sabotage my own time freedom. And I'm going to share something on here that I haven't really shared ever before publicly. I'm going to share it because I really want this platform to be about authenticity, to be about stepping into your power, your path, and who you really are. And I'm hoping that the stories that I share in here every day, the anecdotes I share in here every day about myself, about people in my life, about clients that I've served, I'm going to keep everyone anonymous unless I'm talking about me, which I'm happy to talk about me and have, this disclaimer, this is me, this is who I am, but really with the purpose of anonymity to share what is happening so that if you're relating to any of this, you could be like, you know what, that's going on with me too. And I'm not alone. Oh my God, I'm not alone. And there's a way to get through this. Okay. So I'm going to share something on here that I have never shared before. And when my burnout happened, so what happened for me is, I had a 6-figure month and I'm like, I crushed it, right? Did all the things. I'm like, oh my God, I've done it. I've done the thing. I've done this incredible thing. And I'm on this ego trip for a minute and a half. And I messaged my business coach. I'm like, guess what happened? Blah, 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 this and that. And literally within moments later, I felt the surge of emptiness I've never felt before. I'd felt this unfulfillment that I never felt before. And it's crazy because guess what? Like, here I'm living what I know is my purpose. I know that I'm finally stepping into my path of who I am supposed to be. And why is it that I am in my purpose now? And so unhappy. And I got in front of this mentor, this teacher, one of the biggest blessings that ever happened to my life. And he had the audacity and the courage to ask me a really hard question. He said, Karishma, and I come to him and I'm like, how do I make money in my business? Because at this point, I went from 6-figure month to barely a quarter of that, which is really awesome, right? Big picture. But now this bar that I've created, this incredible ceiling that I've created, now I have to match that to be enough, to not be a failure anymore. So I started creating my own vicious self-sabotage of suffering. And I almost nearly threw in the towel right before that call. A few weeks before, I got to the point where that burnout was so severe and the depression that hit because the subsequent months were so deep and profound and painful that I was like, I'm a complete failure. And I almost threw in the towel of this business that I love. And I got in front of this teacher, this mentor. And I was like, how do I make more money in my business? Because I'm thinking the problem is the business. The problem is the sales. The problem is what's going on here. And he had the courage and the audacity to ask me a question that I couldn't avoid answering. And he said, what's going on with your marriage? I wasn't going to share any of this, but I'm sharing it today because I know somebody out there needs to hear it. And again, I thought something was wrong with his hearing. And I said, no, you didn't hear me. How do I make money in my business? And he asked again, tell me about your marriage. And here this was a year after COVID had hit. And I feel like COVID was a big revealing time for a lot of us if we allowed ourselves to open our eyes. And this is not about putting my ex-husband down because he's a great ex-husband. We have a great co-parenting relationship today. The truth is I haven't been happy in a long time. The truth is that we were in a marriage where he was traveling 3, 4, 5 days out of the week, and especially having kids. My twins were 8 years old at the time, 7, 8 years old at the time. We didn't have to be around each other. And I had done really well over the years at building the career, at being really busy socializing. Like, I didn't have a void in my life that my husband needed to fill, because all of the boxes were complete, right? Checkbox friends, checkbox social life, checkbox everything. And there was this deep, deep, deep pain inside of me where I didn't feel safe to be me at home. And again, this has nothing to do with my ex-husband, because safety, my friends, comes from within us. It's not about outside of us, it's within us. So I didn't feel safe enough to be my light, to make impact, to have abundance, to have prosperity, to have happiness and fulfillment. I was doing that to me. Do you see that? And since then, it's been a beautiful journey of finding out who I am and letting go of what was safe for me. And what was safe for me was holding on to this marriage that had been broken for a long time. And I stayed in it for all the reasons why people claim to be in their relationships too long. Perceived safety. We were friends, right? Surface level, we were friends. We weren't talking a lot, but we were like kind of friends. We were friendly-ish, right? We had a parent, the kids were in common. My guilt, my shame, a lot of stuff that I have been raised with from a cultural standpoint kept me stuck and tethered to my marriage. And this isn't a coaching session to tell you to leave the marriages. That's not what I'm talking about here. My point is, sometimes we don't see how we create our own suffering. We don't see that we are doing it to ourselves. And when I think about that, my trajectory, my journey, my marriage, and the suffering that came from staying in it too long. And have you ever known something about a job, a business, a career, a relationship, a friend, where you're like, I know I shouldn't enter this, but I think I'm going to go for it anyway. I know this isn't going to end well, but I'm going to enter this business partnership anyway. And that's her intuition talking. That's her gut talking. And I remember even my first year of marriage, I was like, I don't think this is a good fit. And I went to this counselor. We went to this counselor 1.5 years into our marriage. And she looks at me and she was like, Karishma, you're never going to be happy in this marriage. And that was in 2015. My divorce ended I guess it got solidified January last year. And so why did I stay in this that long? I can talk about all the reasons that I did. But if I am not happy, if I'm not free, I'm doing it to myself. And that's a really hard pill to swallow. I'm going to share another story. I had someone reach out to me last week, and she's someone that I've known, friend, acquaintance, someone that I know from a few years ago. And I put this divorce post up a few weeks ago, and she's like, I read that post. And Karishma, my husband isn't being respectful to me. My husband isn't respecting me. And in fact, he's putting me down in front of my family members. And people come to me and I'm not sure what they want. But I have no choice but to tell them what I know that they need to hear, not what I think that they should hear, which makes me kind of hard to hang out with, frankly, I'm sure. And she's telling me about how he's disrespectful to her and disrespectful in front of the kids and disrespectful in front of the in-laws and so on and so forth. And I asked her, how much longer are you going to allow yourself to be disrespected? How much longer are you going to allow yourself to be unhappy? How much longer are you going to allow yourself to put yourself down? Because the second we allow someone else to come into our life or is in our life and treat us a certain way that evokes a shitty reaction, we are allowing them to treat us badly because we allow that behavior from ourselves. And one of the hardest things that I feel like I've had to do, and I've been able to support people in doing today, is really advocating for themselves, to have the courage to be like, you know what? This relationship isn't working anymore. I'm not talking about divorce. I'm talking about dynamics of a relationship. And, my son, I've shared about it with my clients. Sometimes my son can be not a nice person. And my son is 11 years old. He's a freaking genius. One of the sweetest kids in the world. He's super smart. And he's very prickly sometimes too. And sometimes he'll say things to get a reaction. Mommy, you're a blank. Or so, and it's like, really? You get to not be happy with me right now? And usually those reactions come when it's time to go from one parent's house to the other, right? This is the life of a divorced parent today. And I know what he really wants is to spend time with me. But what he does is sometimes he'll say things that are really nasty to make me, to get me to push him away. So he can feel better and he can feel justified and he can be like, you know what? I didn't want to be with our mom anyway. But I get to say, you know what? It's okay that you don't like me right now. It's okay that you don't like this right now, but you don't get to talk to me like that. And that has been an evolution over the last few years, where we teach people how to treat us. We teach people what is okay, what is not okay. And guess where that starts? That starts within us. If I talk to myself like that, and I know I have for years, I am my hardest critic, as I'm sure a lot of you all are. We are our hardest critics. But if we treat ourselves with self-loathing, with disrespect, we're beating up on ourselves. Guess what we're allowing the world to do? We're allowing them to beat up on us too. And then it's so easy to point fingers and be like, he's this or she's that. But it's like, nobody can treat me badly unless I give them permission to. And the second I find that behavior where it's getting out of line, especially coming from me, because I am my worst advocate, I get to say, you know what, Karishma, it's time to come back into love, come back into compassion, come back into grace, and come back and love yourself even more. And that, my friends, when we talk about prosperity, we talk about abundance, we talk about love, all of that we have to give ourselves first to receive it on the outside. Because if I don't give that love to me on the inside, and let's say I have somebody coming into my life that's amazing, that's wonderful, that treats me like $1 million, I'm going to be like, that's too good to be true. I don't deserve that. Because my relationship with myself dictates my relationship with the world. If I don't treat myself well, guess what I'm going to create? A world where people don't treat me well. If I am living in fear, lack, and scarcity, guess what I'm going to be hyper-focused on? Fear, lack, and scarcity. I'd love for you all to just put in the chats here. What's resonating with you? How can we turn the world around for ourselves? And if you're like, Karishma, I don't even know where to begin, that's okay. Because I didn't know where to begin either. But I knew that when I felt at my lowest, I'm going to say God had me. And people came into my life. I heard the right message at the right time to teach me how to come back to myself. And that's what I hope to be here for you. So keep tuning in every day here with me. Noon Central Time, probably go on around 20, 30 minutes, probably what I'm thinking. Whatever's right. I'm not going to have a scheduled end time. And I'm going to be sharing in the next few days just opportunities to get some support in your life. Because I guarantee if any of this resonates with you, if I am where I am today, where I have a beautiful life, healthy relationship with my kids, I have a business that is incredible, that's shifting, but it's incredible. I have love in my life today. I have a really healthy co-parenting relationship today. It didn't start when I didn't love myself. It's because of coming into myself, of having the courage to face myself, to be with myself. That's where the miracles unfolded. Tune in tomorrow, Miracles with Karishma, day 2. I hope you found this helpful. Have a beautiful day.